Okay, so the Camlin Brush Pens. Let's talk about what are they. So these brush pens have a flexible tip that help you create beautiful and translucent watercolor effects with the ease of a pen. Now this is written on the box and it says that the techniques you can use is lettering. It's a great tool for lettering with ease. Its well-defined lines help you design with perfection, and its brush tip helps in fine detailing techniques, making the whole picture impactful. And it also says that you can do line work. With this, you can now draw flawless thin as well as thick strokes. Its flexible brush-like tip allows one to switch between lining techniques with ease. So my first impression of these is that it comes in a ton of different colors, including some neon colors, which I think are really neat. And then another thing that I noticed about them is that it comes in a nice little carrying case, so you could just really use the case to store it. A lot of pens come in flimsy cases and I don't even use the cases, but this one's actually really sturdy. And then with this one, if you look at the nib, it is a very flexible tip. So when they say it's a flexible nib, they mean it's truly, truly flexible and has a ton of give. So I don't know if you would like that or you would not like that. That's actually not my favorite thing. I don't like to have a super, super flexible nib that has too much give because it doesn't give you a lot of feedback and it doesn't bounce back very well. So what paper should you use? As always, I always say to use Canson XL marker paper. That is extremely smooth paper and it's never going to damage the nibs. Especially with these pens, I think if you use any kind of paper that has a little bit of a tooth to it, you're going to ruin the tip of these pens. So any kind of smooth. What sets do they come in? They come in a 6, a 12, and a 24 pack. So for the upstrokes and the downstrokes, you can create a good variation between thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes. However, with that being said, you must have really good control to create the thin upstrokes. The tip is super flexible and does not give much feedback while creating the upstrokes, so it's kind of difficult to gauge how much pressure you are adding. There's also not very good bounce back of the nib, meaning when you write a thick downstroke and then you transition to the upstroke, it remains kind of pushed down, which makes it difficult to get that thin upstroke. So as for blendability, they do blend really well. They blend very nicely, and like I said, they have a wide variety of colors, which I love. So the blendability is great, and they stay wet for a good amount of time for you to be able to blend. So my overall opinion of these, let's start with the positives. So the positives are that they come in a variety of colors, which I always love, and that they create super thick downstrokes, which that's also a great thing for these large brush pens. And they also are great at blending. They have great blendability and they stay wet on the paper for a long time, allowing you to create a great blend. Okay, so let's talk about the negatives. I felt like overall with the pens, the nib was inconsistent with all the pens. I felt like some of the nibs were really flexible And then also some of them were more stiff, which I actually like the stiffer nibs. I think it's a little bit easier to control. So as you can see when I'm kind of going through these color samples, you can tell that there's a little bit difference in the thickness in some of them. And then that's also, as far as the nibs go, something that I don't like is that there's not a lot of feedback. As far as the upstrokes go, it's difficult to even tell if you're putting any pressure on your pen because the nibs are super flexible. So I definitely would not say that these are good for beginners just because you have to have so much more control. These were even difficult for me to letter with, and I've been lettering for about 3 years. So just be aware of that. You know, when you purchase these, you might see other people with them, but just know that they're difficult to control. So you might not get the nice thin upstrokes that you were hoping for just because of the flexible tip. So personally, I would keep these because I would use them for something besides just straight lettering. Maybe I would use it for my 3D style because you don't have to have so much control for the 3D style that I use. So I could use it for blending instead, and I feel like they would work just fine and be lovely for that.